This must be the most important goal in Newport County history. Can you talk to us about that game and that moment, please?
Do you know what? Still to this day, I'll never get tired of speaking about it. I think it was something that was such a really big build-up, because in the circumstances that I signed for Newport, we were in the relegation zone, everything was going against us, and to kind of bring it to the last day of the season, that if you win the game, you beat relegation, you do the best comeback, that a lot of people have been speaking about, that obviously Newport were written off for months before that they were destined to go down. And I remember on that day, it was a 5:20 kickoff. So there was a long day in it. And I remember I woke up at 8-9 o'clock in the hotel that I was staying in, and I just couldn't shake off the feeling of, I wanted to go back to sleep, but the excitement, the nervous, the anxiousness, everything towards that game, I just couldn't get back to sleep. And I was sitting up all morning. And I remember I phoned my dad, and I was getting closer to the game, and I was speaking to my dad, and my dad was like, look, he said, it's a one-off game. He said, all you can do is go out, do what you've been doing, and you should be okay. He said, just go out there and give it your all. That's all you can do. He said, a one-off game, give it everything. So then I said to my dad, I was like, look, I said, I'll phone you when I get to the stadium. He said, don't do that. And I said, why? He said, you haven't done that for the whole 6 months you've been at Newport. He said, don't do it on the most important day. So I was like, okay. So my dad was obviously feeling superstitious as well, but he never really told me that. So we got to the game, and just, we were getting, say, 1,500 to 2,000 fans maximum each game that we played at home in the whole build-up to that game. There weren't many fans turning up. And on the last day of the season, 7,500 turned up. It was sold out, and the atmosphere of the place was crazy. It was an atmosphere where I was thinking, I've not played in anything like it. And I mean, for the intensity of the game, I never played in anything like it. The actual significance of what the game meant, I never played in a pressure like it. But as the game's going on, we go 1-0 up. Mickey Demetrio scores the first goal, which again nobody remembers, but I always give him a mention in it. He scored the first goal, and like you say, everything's going according to plan. If we beat Hartlepool's result, we stay up, they get relegated. If we match their result, we stay up, they get relegated. If they better our result, we're relegated. So we were 1-0. Hartlepool were losing 1-0. We thought, perfect, this day is going just how we like it. And then obviously Notts County equalised in the second half. And when they equalised, Mickey Demetrio made a tackle, who then kicked it off my shins, who then, when it bounced off my shins, went behind our other defender, and their striker ran in, scored a goal. So technically I had an assist for Notts County on the same day as well. So that was it was tough to take, because obviously we knew we were drawn, Hartlepool were still losing, so we were still okay. And then out of nowhere, I think there was 5 minutes to go, 10 minutes to go, and our manager shouting onto the pitch, get the ball forward. He puts on two more strikers. Hartlepool were 2-1 up against Doncaster, and we were 1-1, so obviously we were relegated at the time. And I got to around the 88th minute, and I looked over to the bench, and I said, let me go up front. And it was the assistant manager, Wayne Hatswell, said to me, right, go on. So I just jogged up front, just thinking I was going to be a distraction for somebody else to run on and score a goal. I never actually thought I'd be the one scoring a goal. But I remember the ball going over my head, and then it goes back over my head the other way. And Joss Labadie, who was the captain at the time, followed up the ball going back over my head, and he played the ball out wide on the volley. And David Pipe, as the right back, he cut in on his left foot, and it's the first time he's ever cut in on his left foot to try and cross a ball. And so everything that could have went right. He cut in on his left foot, he crossed the ball in, and that ball, when I remember it just dropping, and as it hit me chest, I could just feel the ball dropping nicely, and I just turned and hit it. And I even watched the goal back myself, and the defender's so close to me, I look at it and go, any other time a defender blocks that, any other time it goes somewhere. And it was just like, it feels as though it's like kind of one of them moments in football that, with everything that I went through at Luton, with everything that I had to put up with at Luton, and keeping myself going, it was like one of those moments where you go, that was meant for me. All the hardship that I had, even with open heart surgery, that was meant for me. One moment of redemption to say, this is why I love football. This is the reason why you never gave up. And this is like, you're reaping the rewards of not giving up, really. And like I said, I just remember running off celebrating, and one of the lads giving me a nudge. I'm tumbling. Like, you could tell that like it was my first ever football league goal, as in the league, because like I said, I never knew how to celebrate, but everything just went into chaos. The fans were on the pitch, and honestly, it was one of those moments that I'll just never forget. And it was the first time that I cried for football, because after the game, I remember the final whistle went, I just fell to me back. Mickey Demetrio jumped on me, and one of the other players came over. All the fans are surrounding us, and I remember I just started feeling like so overwhelmed with emotion, because I think so much hard work went into the final 6 months of that season, and for it all to come down like a cup final, and to come out of it to know we're not relegated, everything's safe, everything's great. I've got a contract, because not a lot of people knew that I had like a little deal with Brian Wesley when I signed. He basically gave me a kind of incentive when I played, and said, if we stay out of relegation, you have a contract at Newport, and we'll keep you for another 2 years. He said, if we get relegated, we don't pay you in your summertime. You don't have a contract, and the team's relegated. So in itself was a massive for me, that gave me security of a new contract, gave me a football team that wanted me to play, and it gave me a life again. It gave me a football life again that I've missed for so long. Like, as I said, it's a moment that I'll never ever forget.
How many times a day, Mark, do you watch that goal on YouTube?
How many hours are in a day? I'd say I watch it once every hour.
Answer 24.
Well, then there you go, 24 times a day. I'll tell you, I could watch that. I just never get sick of watching it. Like, it's something where I kind of look at me sometimes, because I was thinking I've never done that in my life, and never will I do it again. But like you say, some of these moments just happen, and for whatever reason it fell to me, and I've kind of come up with my own conclusions why it fell to me. But as far as I'm concerned, the game finished 1-0, and Mickey Demetrio didn't even score.
So, Mark, was that the season you were 11 points off safety with not many games to go? Was Michael Flynn manager at the time?
Graham Wesley got sacked in March, and I remember Michael Flynn took over, and I think there was 12 games to go, and we were 11 points adrift. So technically, we weren't away, we weren't 100% relegated. But I think for the footballing world, everyone was like, right, Newport are relegated, so and so are relegated. Now it's about Hartlepool, but we just kept going and kept going and kept going. And like you say, I think him as a manager, he kind of gave me another new lease of life. Him and Wayne Hatswell are two people, when they took over, I think we just mutually got on. Wayne Hatswell, being a defender himself, he's someone who I think was unbelievable for my career. He had very old school values, but new school kind of ideas, and he was very good at everything, how he came across with his messaging, like how he spoke to me, how he spoke to the players. And even Michael Flynn himself as a manager, two of them just complemented each other brilliantly. And like I said, I've had some of my best times ever in my football at Newport.